You watch someone command a room with just a few words. Everyone leans in when they speak. Listen. Remember what they said long after the conversation ends. Meanwhile, you talk more, much more, and people's eyes glaze over. They nod politely while planning their exit. You're saying more, but they're hearing less, and you can't figure out why your words don't land when theirs do with half the effort. It's not about volume. It's not about being louder or funnier or more impressive. It's about weight. And weight comes from knowing when to speak and when to stay silent, from saying exactly what you mean without decoration, from being so present that your words carry the force of your attention behind them. Most people think attraction is about addition. Be smarter, funnier, more charismatic. Fill every silence with something interesting. But the Stoics knew different. Attraction isn't about what you add, it's about what you remove. Stop performing. Stop seeking approval in every sentence. Stop filling silence because you're uncomfortable with it. The moment you stop needing attention is the moment you start getting it. This isn't manipulation. These aren't tricks to get people to like you. This is about communicating in a way that reflects actual character instead of manufactured charisma. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." The same applies here. Don't perform interest. Be interesting through how you speak and how you don't. Today, I'll show you 6 communication principles, each demonstrated through specific words and phrases that make people want to be around you. Not because you're performing, because you're present. Number 4 is the one people get backwards. They think saying more makes them more interesting. It does the opposite. If you're tired of talking without being heard, let's begin. Phrase 1. Tell me more. Most men sabotage attraction without realizing it, folks. A woman starts telling a story, maybe about a trip, maybe about a difficult moment at work, maybe about something personal, and before she finishes, he jumps in. "Oh, that happened to me too. I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, when I was in Miami." He hijacks the moment. He thinks he's connecting, but what he's really doing is shifting the spotlight back to himself. Here's the magic shift. When she shares something meaningful, look at her and say, calmly, "Tell me more about that." Then stop talking. That's it. Let me show you what this looks like in real life. Brian is 52, owns a small accounting firm in Phoenix. He's on a second date with Melissa, 47, divorced, emotionally intelligent, not easily impressed. They're talking about past relationships. Melissa says, "I think I lost myself a little in my marriage." Old Brian would have responded with a story about his own divorce, or advice, or reassurance. Instead, he leans back slightly, holds steady eye contact, and says, "Tell me more about that." No interruption, no nodding excessively, just presence. Melissa pauses. Then she goes deeper. She talks about how she stopped pursuing her hobbies, how she avoided conflict, how she woke up one day feeling invisible. Here's what just happened. She felt heard. Let's be honest, my friend. Most people don't feel heard. They feel responded to. There's a difference. When you say, "Tell me more," you communicate 3 things at once. First, I'm not threatened by depth. Second, I'm not rushing this conversation. Third, I value what's happening inside you. Brian didn't follow up with advice. He didn't say, "You shouldn't have done that." He let her speak. And when she finished, he nodded once and said, "That sounds like it took strength to walk away." That's weight. Epictetus said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason." Most men reverse that ratio. They talk twice as much as they listen. But here's the psychology. When someone talks at length about something personal, their brain associates that emotional release with the person who held the space. Melissa left that date feeling lighter, not because Brian entertained her, because he witnessed her. And here's where it gets subtle. Tell me more only works if you don't immediately grab the mic afterward. If you ask it and then interrupt, it loses power. If you ask it and then stare intensely, it feels interrogative. Calm tone, relaxed posture. Genuine curiosity. Brian later told me something interesting. I didn't say much that night, but she texted me saying she hadn't opened up like that in years. That's the effect. You don't become unforgettable by being the most impressive man in the room. You become unforgettable by being the man who makes her feel most understood. If you're ready to stop competing for attention and start creating connection, type this in the comments right now. I listen with power. Stay with me. The next phrase is even stronger because it builds trust in a way most men are too insecure to try. Phrase 2. I don't know. Now this one separates secure men from performers, folks. The phrase is simple. 3 words. I don't know. Most men are terrified of saying it. Why? Because they think attraction is about always having the answer, always being sharp, always being impressive. So when a woman asks something they're unsure about, they guess, they bluff, they half-answer, they decorate uncertainty with confidence. And she feels it. Here's the hard truth. Fake knowledge destroys trust faster than silence ever will. When you pretend to know something you don't, your tone shifts, your body tightens, your words become slightly vague. Even if she can't pinpoint it, she senses something hollow. Authority is not built on knowing everything, it's built on honesty. Epictetus taught that wisdom begins with recognizing what you do not know. A Stoic man does not fear ignorance, he fears self-deception. So when she asks you about a topic outside your depth, you look at her calmly and say, I don't know. No apology spiral, no nervous laugh, no long justification, just steady delivery. And here's the key. You stop there. You don't immediately add, but I think maybe to soften the blow. You don't try to prove you're still competent. You let those 3 words stand. Why does this work? Because truth feels solid. Most men try to protect their ego. The man who says, I don't know, protects his integrity instead. And integrity is attractive. Let's get honest for a moment. When someone confidently admits they don't know something, you respect them more, not less. It signals self-awareness. It signals that when they do speak with certainty, it means something. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself not to pretend to knowledge he didn't possess. That discipline builds internal alignment. When your words match reality, your nervous system relaxes. And a relaxed nervous system feels strong. There's another layer here most men miss. When you say, I don't know, you also create space. Space for her to explain, space for her to share expertise, space for her to step forward without you competing. Competition in conversation kills polarity. Presence builds it. Now let's refine this. The wrong way to say it sounds defensive. I don't know, okay. The right way sounds grounded. I don't know. Calm tone, even eye contact, then silence. No shame, no apology. This is not weakness, it's clarity. And here's something powerful. When you consistently speak truth, even when it exposes a gap, she begins to trust your other statements more deeply. If you say, I respect that she believes you. If you say, I'm attracted to you, it lands heavier. Because you don't perform. Seneca wrote that we suffer more in imagination than in reality. The fear of looking ignorant is often worse than the reality of admitting uncertainty. A mature man doesn't inflate himself to avoid discomfort. He stands on what is real, and real is magnetic. If you're ready to drop the act and let truth replace performance, type this in the comments right now. I choose truth. Stay with me. The next phrase builds emotional depth in a way that makes her feel seen instead of fixed. Phrase 3. That sounds difficult. This one is powerful because most men get it completely wrong, folks. A woman opens up about something stressful, work pressure, family conflict, a past relationship that drained her. And what does the average guy do? He tries to fix it. He offers advice. He gives solutions. He tells her what she should have done. He thinks he's being helpful. But what she feels is unseen. Here's the shift. When she shares something heavy, look at her calmly and say, that sounds difficult. Then stop. Let me show you how this plays out. Chris is 49, runs a tech startup in Seattle. He's dating Lauren, 44, successful, independent, recently out of a long relationship. One evening she tells him, "My ex used to shut down any time we had conflict. I felt like I was arguing with a wall." Old Chris would have jumped in with, "You should have confronted him differently," or "That's just how some guys are." Instead, he holds steady eye contact and says, "That sounds difficult." No fixing, no analysis, just acknowledgement. Lauren exhales. That exhale matters, because what she just felt was validation, not correction. Let's be honest, my friend. Most people don't want solutions immediately. They want to feel understood first. When you skip that step and go straight to advice, it feels like you're minimizing their experience. That sounds difficult, does something different. It reflects the weight of what she said without taking control of it. Chris didn't follow up with a long speech. He let the silence breathe. Lauren continued on her own. She talked about how small she felt, how frustrated she was, how it affected her confidence. Now she's going deeper. Why? Because she doesn't feel judged. She doesn't feel managed. She feels heard. Marcus Aurelius wrote about being tolerant with others and strict with yourself. This is tolerance in action. You restrain the urge to dominate the moment with your perspective. And here's the psychological layer. When a woman feels emotionally validated, her nervous system relaxes. She associates that sense of relief with the man in front of her. Chris later told me, "I barely said anything, but she opened up more than I expected." Exactly. Now here's what most men miss. Tone matters. If you say, "That sounds difficult," quickly and move on, it sounds dismissive. If you say it with softness but without pity, it sounds strong. Calm voice, slower pace, direct eye contact, strength plus empathy. That combination builds attraction. Lauren later told Chris something revealing. "I feel like you actually listen. You don't try to fix me." That's powerful, because women in their 40s and 50s have often spent years being told what they should do. A man who can hold space without controlling the narrative feels rare. This phrase is not dramatic. It's not flashy, but it creates emotional depth. If you're ready to stop jumping into problem solver mode and start creating emotional safety, type this in the comments right now. I lead with calm. Stay with me. The next shift isn't even words. It's silence. And most men are too afraid to use it. Phrase 4. Master the silence. This is where most men lose control, folks. Not because they say the wrong thing, because they can't tolerate the pause after they say the right thing. Silence makes insecure men nervous. They rush to fill it. They explain more. They soften their statement. They laugh unnecessarily. They check her reaction and adjust in real time. And the moment they do that, their words lose weight. Here's the shift. Say what you mean. Then stop. Let the air hold it. Most men think attraction comes from constant engagement. In reality, attraction grows in tension, and tension lives in silence. Seneca wrote that unnecessary words dilute meaning. The Stoic understood something modern men forget. Restraint creates power. When you speak and then remain silent, you communicate self-trust. You're not scrambling to control how your words are received. You're not negotiating your value. You let the statement stand. For example, you say, "I enjoy your perspective." Then you pause. You hold eye contact. No follow-up explanation. No, "I just mean," clarification. That pause does something subtle. Her mind leans forward. Humans are wired to close open loops. Silence after a meaningful statement creates an open loop. She fills it. She processes it. She feels it. But if you immediately continue talking, you close the loop for her. You remove her participation. Let's be clear. Silence is not awkward unless you make it awkward. It becomes awkward when your body language tightens, when your eyes dart away, when your breathing speeds up. Mastering silence means mastering yourself. Marcus Aurelius trained himself not to be disturbed by external reactions. That includes the reaction of a woman across from you. If she pauses after you speak, that does not mean you failed. It often means you hit something real. Here's another layer. Silence reveals confidence because it shows you are not afraid of being seen. When you stop talking, you are exposed. Your presence carries the moment. If you can hold that without collapsing into nervous chatter, you signal strength. Most men never build this muscle. They talk themselves into the friend zone. They explain themselves out of attraction. They joke their way out of depth. The man who can pause without panic stands out immediately. Now here's something important. Silence must be intentional, not cold. Your posture stays open. Your expression stays relaxed. Your breathing stays steady. It's not withdrawal, it's control. Inside the membership, we go deeper into this. We train how to regulate your nervous system so silence feels natural instead of forced. Because mastering silence is not a trick, it's a reflection of internal stability. If you want to move beyond surface-level advice and actually develop that grounded presence, that's where we build it step by step. Ask yourself this: can you say one meaningful sentence and let it breathe? Or do you feel the urge to rescue it immediately? If you're ready to stop over-talking and start commanding attention through restraint, type this in the comments right now. Control the space. Don't go anywhere. What's coming next shifts from silence to something even more powerful: recognition. Phrase 5. I appreciate you. Most men think appreciation is just another compliment, folks. It's not. A compliment is easy. You look great. You're funny. You're smart. Fine, but it barely touches her. Real appreciation lands lower in the chest. It tells her you see her character, not just her appearance or what she does for you. And that's exactly why this phrase can make a woman think about you later in a quiet way that feels intimate. The phrase is simple: I appreciate you. But it only works when you use it like a disciplined man, not like a guy fishing for points. If you throw it around on date 1, it feels cheap. If you repeat it every night, it becomes background noise. And if you say it right after she does something for you, it can sound transactional, like you're paying her in words. So here's the rule, my friend. Say it when you've actually observed something steady about her. Something that would still be true, even if she never lifted a finger for you. Let me give you a real example. Derek is 56 and runs a small contracting business outside Nashville. He starts dating Angela, 49, a woman who's lived enough life to spot fake confidence in seconds. One evening, Derek's week goes sideways. A client backs out, a crew is late, and he's carrying that weight into dinner. Angela doesn't try to fix him. She doesn't interrogate him. She listens, asks one clear question, and stays present without making it about herself. Later, as they're walking out, Derek doesn't launch into a speech. He doesn't perform gratitude. He stops, looks her in the eyes and says, I appreciate you. Calm voice, slow pace, no nervous laugh. Then he lets the moment sit. Angela pauses. Her shoulders drop. She doesn't gush. She just nods and says, that means a lot. Why did it hit? Because she heard I see who you are. Not, thanks for what you did. Women in their 40s and 50s are used to being valued for roles. The strong one, the reliable one, the one who holds everything together. Appreciation that recognizes character feels rare because it doesn't demand anything from her. It doesn't try to buy affection. It simply names what you noticed. Here's how you make it even stronger. Attach the appreciation to a quality, not a favor. I appreciate you. You stay steady under pressure. Or I appreciate you. You don't play games. One extra sentence is enough. Then stop. Don't stack 5 compliments. Don't beg her to receive it. Let her take it in. Now, don't confuse this with flattery. Flattery is thirsty. Appreciation is grounded. Flattery tries to create a reaction. Appreciation accepts whatever reaction comes. So when you say it, make it clean. One sentence, then stop. Let her feel it. Let her decide what to do with it. That restraint is Stoic. Marcus Aurelius wrote about honoring virtue when you see it. That's the spirit here. You're recognizing steadiness, integrity, patience, courage. And when you do it without pressure, it builds a bond that feels safe and masculine at the same time. If you're done handing out cheap compliments and you're ready to recognize real character, drop this in the comments. I appreciate her strength. Stick with me. You won't want to miss what comes next, because the next phrase is how you earn respect the moment most men fold. Phrase 6. Say no calmly. This is the one most men avoid, folks, because saying no feels risky. They think if they disagree, decline, or set a boundary, attraction will disappear. So they soften everything. They say maybe when they mean no. They over-explain. They apologize for having limits. And without realizing it, they train people to take them lightly. Here's the shift. Say no, calmly, briefly, without anger, without drama, without a speech. Just no. Most men either explode or collapse. They say no aggressively, or they can't say it at all. But the man who says no with steady tone and relaxed posture communicates something rare: self-respect. Epictetus taught that you must understand the meaning of what you say yes to and what you say no to. Every yes costs something: time, energy, focus. When you say yes to everything, you signal that your time is cheap, and cheap things are not valued. Let's be clear. This isn't about being difficult, it's about being grounded. If she asks you to reschedule last minute and it genuinely doesn't work for you, don't scramble to accommodate out of fear. Don't invent a complicated excuse. Say, that doesn't work for me. Calm voice, neutral expression, then stop. No justification marathon. The power is in the restraint. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that you always have the power to choose your response. Saying no calmly is choosing your boundaries over your need for approval. And here's the psychology. When a man cannot say no, he signals dependency. When he can say no without hostility, he signals independence. Independence creates respect. Respect fuels attraction. There's another subtle layer here. Tone matters more than content. If you say no with tension in your jaw and sharpness in your voice, it feels defensive. If you say no while shrinking and apologizing repeatedly, it feels weak. But if you say no with relaxed shoulders, steady eye contact and measured pacing, it feels final and secure. You're not rejecting her, you're protecting your standards. This is especially important for men in their 40s and 50s. At this stage of life, you have responsibilities, priorities, a schedule that matters. If you abandon those instantly for attention, you undercut your own value. And here's something most men don't realize. When you say no calmly, you actually create safety. Because consistency is safe. Predictability is safe. A man with boundaries is easier to trust than a man who bends under pressure. Seneca wrote that we suffer more from imagination than reality. The fear that she will leave because you set a boundary is usually exaggerated. In many cases, she will respect you more. Now, this doesn't mean saying no to everything. It means saying no when it's true. When she pushes back playfully, don't crumble. Smile slightly. Repeat your boundary once if needed, then move on. No debate, no defensiveness. The moment you stay steady under mild pressure, you separate yourself from men who chase. So ask yourself honestly, do you say yes because you want to, or because you're afraid of losing her? If you're ready to protect your time, your energy, and your standards without hostility, type this in the comments right now. I stand my ground. Stay with me. The final shift brings all of this together into one disciplined presence that makes your words impossible to ignore. Phrase 7. Let her finish. Most men don't realize how often they interrupt folks. Not aggressively, not rudely, just subtly. She's halfway through a thought and he jumps in. She pauses to find the right word and he fills it for her. She's building towards something emotional and he cuts it off with a conclusion. And every time he does that, he breaks the tension. Here's the shift. Let her finish. Not because you're passive, not because you're submissive, but because a man who can wait communicates control. Let me show you how this plays out. Michael is 54, owns a distribution company in North Carolina. He's dating Karen, 50, divorced, emotionally sharp, used to men who talk over her without noticing. They're sitting at dinner. Karen is telling a story about her son struggling in college. She pauses mid-sentence, searching for the right words. Old Michael would have stepped in with, "Yeah, that age is tough," or "He just needs discipline." Instead, he stays quiet, holds steady eye contact. No nodding frenzy, no finishing her sentence. He lets the silence exist. Karen continues. Her voice softens. She admits she feels guilty, that she wonders if she pushed him too hard. That moment would have never surfaced if he interrupted. Let's be real for a second. Interrupting often comes from ego. You want to show you understand. You want to show you're sharp. You want to prove you're tracking. But real presence doesn't need to prove it's listening. It demonstrates it through patience. Epictetus reminded us we have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. Most men reverse that ratio in moments that matter most. When you let her finish, 3 things happen. First, she feels respected. Second, she goes deeper. Third, you gain more information than you would have if you jumped in. Michael noticed something subtle that night. When he stopped interrupting, Karen leaned forward more. She spoke longer. She maintained eye contact longer. Why? Because she didn't feel rushed. And here's the deeper layer, my friend. Women in their 40s and 50s have often spent decades navigating conversations where they were talked over. A man who doesn't compete for airtime feels rare. Letting her finish does not mean you sit silently forever. It means you wait until she clearly completes her thought, even if there's a 2-second pause. Especially if there's a 2-second pause. Most men panic in that gap. Michael didn't. When Karen finished, he responded calmly. That must be heavy to carry as a parent. Short, grounded, no lecture. That's leadership. Marcus Aurelius wrote about being slow to anger and deliberate in speech. That discipline shows up right here. You don't react to the impulse to jump in. You observe it. You let it pass. Then you speak. Here's the test. The next time you're in conversation, count 1 full second after she stops talking before you respond. Not awkwardly, just intentionally. You'll be surprised how often she adds 1 more sentence in that space. And that extra sentence is usually the most honest one. If you're ready to stop competing and start commanding through patience, type this in the comments right now. I listen fully. Stick with me. What's coming next ties everything together into the kind of presence that makes your words carry weight long after you leave the room. Phrase 8. Hold the pause. Most men rush to fill the gap right after they say something meaningful, folks. They deliver a strong sentence, then immediately they dilute it. They add another explanation. They soften it with humor. They check her face for approval and adjust midstream. And just like that, the impact disappears. Here's the shift. Say the sentence, then hold the pause. Do not rescue it. Do not decorate it. Do not explain it. Let it sit between you. This is different from silence in general conversation. This is the pause after a deliberate statement. It's the moment where tension forms, and most men can't tolerate that tension. Why? Because that pause exposes you. Once you stop talking, your presence has to carry the weight. Your posture, your eye contact, your breathing, your calm. If those are unstable, you panic and start talking again. But if you're steady, the pause becomes powerful. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself not to be disturbed by how others react. When you hold the pause, you're practicing that discipline. You're not chasing her reaction. You're not scrambling to control how your words are received. You trust them. Let's be direct. If you tell a woman, "I find you intriguing," and then immediately add, "I just mean like in a good way," you're just different. You've weakened it. But if you say, "I find you intriguing," and then you hold eye contact and breathe slowly, something else happens. She feels it. Her nervous system processes the statement without interruption. Her mind leans forward. She fills in the emotional space herself. That's attraction working quietly. Epictetus taught that discipline begins with self-control. Holding the pause is self-control in action. You're resisting the impulse to manage the moment. There's another layer here most men never consider. When you pause after speaking, you signal finality. Your words don't sound like drafts. They sound like decisions. And decisions carry weight. But here's the important detail. The pause must be relaxed. Shoulders down, jaw unclenched, slow breath through the nose. If your body tightens, the pause feels awkward. If your body stays open, the pause feels confident. This is not about intimidation. It's about steadiness, and steadiness creates safety. When you hold the pause, you also test your own internal state. Are you comfortable being seen without hiding behind words? Are you okay if she takes 2 seconds to respond? Or do you feel the urge to fill the space? Most men expose their insecurity right here. The disciplined man stays still. Seneca wrote that we lose authority when we speak more than necessary. The pause ensures you do not overspeak. Here's your practice. The next time you say something intentional, count 1 slow breath before speaking again. Not a forced delay, just 1 breath. Let your words land. You'll notice something interesting. She often responds with more depth, more honesty, more curiosity, because you gave her space to feel. If you're ready to stop over-explaining and start letting your words carry weight, type this in the comments right now. I let it land. Don't go anywhere. The final shift pulls all of this together into the kind of presence that makes women remember you long after the conversation ends. Phrase 9. Speak without decorating. Let's get honest about something uncomfortable, folks. Most men don't speak plainly. They decorate. They soften their opinions. They wrap direct statements in layers of explanation. They add extra jokes, extra context, extra disclaimers, all because they're afraid their raw words won't be enough. And the moment you decorate your speech, you dilute your presence. Here's the shift. Say what you mean, clean, direct, then stop. No unnecessary qualifiers like kind of, maybe, I guess, or if that makes sense. Those phrases leak confidence. They signal hesitation before anyone even challenges you. Let me show you how this plays out. Robert is 58, a senior operations manager in Boston. He's dating Cynthia, 53, confident, sharp, used to strong personalities. One night, they're discussing travel. Cynthia says she prefers spontaneous trips. Robert actually prefers structure and planning. Old Robert would have said, "Yeah, I mean, I kind of like planning, but I'm flexible, I guess." That sounds unsure. Instead, he says calmly, "I prefer planning. I enjoy knowing where I'm going." Then he stops. No apology, no over-explanation. Cynthia studies him for a second. Then she smiles. "That's refreshing," she says. "Most people just say whatever they think I want to hear." That's the difference. When you speak without decorating, you signal internal alignment. Your words match your standards. You're not bending mid-sentence to secure approval. Let's be real. Many men talk in drafts. They start a thought, soften it, revise it out loud, then try to rescue it with humor. That scattered delivery makes you feel less grounded. Stoicism teaches clarity. Marcus Aurelius wrote about being straightforward, free of pretense. When you remove verbal fluff, you remove pretense. Now here's the deeper psychology. Women don't just listen to content. They listen to conviction. If your words sound tentative, your conviction feels tentative. If your words land cleanly, your conviction feels solid. Robert noticed something else over time. When he stopped decorating, his speech conversations became sharper, shorter, more engaging. Cynthia asked more questions because he wasn't flooding the space with filler. Clean speech invites engagement. Another moment. Cynthia asks, "Do you see yourself settling down again?" Old Robert would have rambled, "Well, I mean, it depends, I'm open, but I've been through a lot." Instead, he says, "Yes, with the right person, and holds eye contact. That's it. That sentence carries more weight than a 5-minute monologue. Here's the rule. If your sentence needs 3 extra clarifications to feel safe, it's probably coming from fear. Strip it down. Speak in complete thoughts. End with a period, not a question mark. This doesn't mean being harsh. It means being clear. And clarity is masculine. When you speak without decorating, you also reduce the chances of saying something you don't mean. You're not improvising to impress. You're expressing to connect. Ask yourself something, my friend. Do you talk to be approved, or do you talk to be understood? If you're ready to remove the fluff and let your words stand on their own, type this in the comments right now. I speak plainly. Stay with me. The final phrase ties everything together and defines the kind of man women remember long after the conversation ends. Phrase 10. Be the man of few words. This is where everything comes together, folks. Not in a trick, not in a clever line, but in identity. Be the man of few words, not silent, not cold, not distant, but deliberate. Most men believe attraction grows with volume. More stories, more humor, more explanations, more emotional displays. They think if they just say enough, something will stick. But weight does not come from quantity, it comes from restraint. A man of few words does not rush to fill space. He does not narrate every thought. He does not compete for airtime. When he speaks, it is because he has decided to speak. That decision alone changes how he is perceived. Let's look at this in a real situation. Thomas is 59, retired military, now consulting part-time in Arizona. He's dating Elise, 54, strong personality, quick thinker, used to being the most articulate person in the room. On their first few dates, Elise talks freely. She's expressive, animated, comfortable. Thomas doesn't interrupt. He doesn't try to outshine her. He listens. When he does speak, it's concise. Elise says, "You're very quiet." Thomas smiles slightly and responds, "I prefer to speak when it matters." And he leaves it there. That line stays with her. Why? Because he's not trying to be mysterious. He simply doesn't feel the need to fill silence to validate himself. A man of few words signals abundance. He does not chase attention. He does not leak nervous energy through constant talking. He trusts that his presence is enough. Marcus Aurelius wrote about being straightforward and free of unnecessary speech. The Stoic ideal was not loud dominance. It was disciplined expression. Here's the deeper psychology. When someone speaks rarely but clearly, you lean in. You assign more value to their words because they are not constantly available. Scarcity creates attention. But this only works if your silence is grounded, not anxious. Thomas maintains eye contact. His posture is relaxed. His breathing is slow. His silence feels stable. So when he finally says something like, "You have strong convictions," it lands heavier than a 5-minute compliment. Elise later admits something. "When you talk, I really listen." That's the shift. A man of few words doesn't mean a man with nothing to say. It means a man who filters, who edits, who chooses. He understands that over-talking often hides insecurity. He removes the excess. And here's something important for men in their 40s, 50s, and beyond. You don't need to impress with speed anymore. You don't need to perform intellect. You don't need to prove your worth through verbal dominance. Your steadiness is your signal. Thomas doesn't rush to respond to every text instantly. He doesn't write paragraphs. He answers clearly, directly, then moves on with his day. That rhythm creates curiosity. Elise feels his presence even when he's not speaking. That's the point. When you combine listening, truth validation, silence appreciation, boundaries, clarity, and restraint, you become a man whose words carry gravity. And gravity is what makes someone think about you long after the conversation ends. You don't need magic words, my friend. You need disciplined ones. If you've made it this far, you already know the difference. Be the man whose words matter because he does not waste them. All right, folks. Today wasn't about clever lines. It wasn't about manipulation. It was about weight. We broke down simple phrases that most men overlook, and we stripped away the noise. Listening without hijacking. Saying, "I don't know" with confidence. Validating instead of fixing. Mastering silence. Speaking clearly. Setting boundaries. And becoming a man whose words carry gravity because he doesn't waste them. Attraction doesn't grow from talking more. It grows from discipline, from presence, from restraint. When your words are clean and intentional, she doesn't just hear you, she feels you. And when she feels you, she remembers you. If you want to go deeper and build this kind of grounded masculine presence step by step, join the membership. That's where we train emotional control, communication, mastery, and real Stoic discipline in a practical way. And if this message resonates with you, make sure you subscribe to the channel. This is where we sharpen mindset, strengthen character, and build men who don't chase attention. They command respect. Thank you for watching, my friend. I'll see you tomorrow.